Next keynote session on automating CI/CD with integrated security, simplifying tool chains for seamless DevOps efficiency, by Mr. Priyesh Gaikwad, AVP Cloud and DevOps at HDFC Live. Can we have a big round of applause for Mr. Gaikwad? Priyesh is an industry veteran, DevOps, Cloud, and DevSecOps leader. Total 19 years of IT experience, expertise in infrastructure, automation, security, and compliance with a strong focus on process improvement and cross-functional collaboration. Over to you, sir.
Thank you. 19, 20 years ago, I started fixing the computers home to home, realizing that there is not much to do, not much progress, and not much respect given, right? I seen some transitions, some opportunities, some missed opportunities, some grabbed opportunities. Got into the system administration, tried to learn Linux. It was a new fad that time. My colleagues used to write some piece of code, maybe that is just ls-l on blank screen. It was to print something. Maybe they was just running top command and it was to give the system stats. I was fascinated by looking at it because I was used to the mouse click and next finish buttons, and I used to know that what Microsoft or some GUI is following me through, right? By looking at those prompts gave me some fascination that it looks like something like a matrix. You're doing something different, and it is beyond a normal person who can do that, right? Because we all see everyone is clicking next command, installing their operating systems, installing softwares and everything. I got an opportunity to get into that. I started learning Linux, right? After learning Linux, meanwhile I got transitioned to different roles. I started taking care of internal complete administration. Then came the word DevOps, right? Not knowing what it is, I just got into it, right? For some time, the term wasn't defined that time, right? A few years I was doing that role, but I wasn't knowing whether I am a DevOps person or not. After a few years, I realized there is a term called as DevOps. And after knowing what is DevOps, I got to know that I am already doing it, but there is no term defined for it, right? The instance, you will go back, developers will fix that code, and it will go again, right? So that whatever approach has shifted towards left as in whatever I can do today at ground level before my whatever rocket launches or building is being built, that is what it is considered as DevSecOps. Let's assume that part. I will continue with the presentation. Enough of GAN part. Okay. So we'll try to cover up how to bring these tools, chains into the CI/CD pipelines, because whatever we were doing is in silos. Whatever methods, whatever scans and everything we used to do is in silos. So just a moment. We'll look at the agenda, which is whatever the challenges we have faced so far in CI/CD pipelines, integrating these security aspects in our CI/CD, whatever tools we use, how to simplify them, how to use them, and what are the purposes of each tool sets. Securing the pipelines. I'll give some examples, a basic example where how we can define these tools and get use of tools to secure our pipelines, and then the benefits, how and why it is going to help us, right? So whatever CI/CD pipelines we have been doing, we have been provisioning without considering the security aspects has some challenges. Let's assume that there is a developer who is writing a piece of code and getting published, the build, deploy, all the processes happening, it is getting deployed, and at the end VAPT process where the code is getting scanned, and it comes back to the same stage where developer has to fix those security aspects, right? So the code vulnerabilities, whatever the vulnerabilities the developer is developing is going to the production till the time we figure it out at the stage of VAPT. There is a obvious habit of putting our secrets into the code. We all have done that, even though we are not developers. We have pushed our environment files, we have pushed our random dummy passwords, credentials, and even if it is a dummy thing, we have just pushed it. Then the dependencies. Today also what we do is like we just Google it and find some download, find some software to convert maybe Word to PDF or PDF to Word, right? We don't put much effort to know whether that software is safe enough or not. Same thing happens with the developers. Whatever the libraries, whatever the dependencies they choose from the internet, whatever the article they referred, or whatever ChatGPT prompt they used, and ChatGPT has some lot of data which may be not secure enough, that gets pulled into it. So whatever libraries they are pulling up, whether they are secure or not, that validation. Security testing, again we mentioned, it goes in silos, and what happens with the security testing is like, again coming back to this thing, things are bad in production and going back. And whatever happening with these security processes, things are not getting monitored. So far we have been monitoring infrastructure, we have been monitoring access log, we have been monitoring application logs, but what is not secure is something remains at a stage where we find the vulnerabilities. When there is a data leak or something, some incident happens and it gets traced by someone. With all these challenges, what comes into picture is speed and quality, right? What happens with speed and quality, or speed or security, whatever we try to do is supposed to slow down our process, our speed, right? But imagine a building which is built, right, without provisioning of fire extinguisher, those whatever pipes they build, and tomorrow they have to meet the compliance and they have to dig through the floors and everything and provision things. This process is going to add up the additional time to that process. Where first in hand, if they had a plan that they need to meet this compliance and they need to have that fire extinguisher system or water system in place in building, they would have planned it better, they would have completed that in time efficiently. Same thing happens with the introducing our security systems in pipeline is like not going or not reaching till VAPT stage, but implementing the security at the start, at the end, and through the process. This security, implementation start from the developer's laptop or everyone who is contributing to the code that stage. Compliance and regulatory concerns, again whatever we are contributing, whether it is going to the production and whether we are meeting any compliance or not, SOC and HIPAA and all these compliances, that concerns are always there. Yeah, like I mentioned, shift-led approach is required because the moment we start bring everything to the developer's laptop, starting from running lints to running some tools like Snyk, Sonar Cloud and everything, this gives us a confidence and it builds a habit of developer to the developer that they start writing a secure code as a practice. Yeah, automated testing, there are different levels of testing. SAS is like software quality testing, security testing we do. SCA is dependencies, which we mentioned, the third party libraries or the modules which we brought into the code. Dynamic testing is like your API and actual testing what happens with the running code, piece of code, not the static one. Dependency scanning is SCA, which I mentioned. And then the role of DevSecOps is like where I mentioned, the DevSecOps becomes a gate for all this. Whatever the tools we use, we put some kind of gates that if the threshold is defined, it is not supposed to cross that threshold and it is not supposed to push that vulnerabilities towards your further environments like dev staging, prod or whatever. Yeah, so the tool chains, CI/CD tools we all have used, Jenkins, GitLab CI, GitHub Actions. Security integration tools I personally use Sonar Cube, I have used Trivy for container scanning, Snyk I have used. We have extensively used GitHub Advanced Security where it gives all the options SAST, SCA, secrets and container scanning, which is Trivy is something they use. I don't have a specific diagram because I couldn't fit that thing in a diagram. We'll go extensively step by step what tools can help us in each stage. So let's look at, I'll just move that side. Yeah, we are writing a piece of code that obviously gets committed to, I'm audible? Yeah. that gets committed to your GitHub, GitLab, or Bitbucket, any SCM tool. The pre-commit hooks or the secret scanning can happen at developer stage or the developer's laptop or these tool stage, where what can happen is like pre-commit hooks are like some kind of lint which will validate the reliability, maintainability and security aspects of your code. Secret scanning again, like whether by mistake or potential secrets are been pushed, any tokens are been pushed in your code along with your code. Pipeline automation, we use obvious Jenkins, GitHub Actions, GitLab CI/CD. Signed commits and artifact signing enforce code reviews. We can enforce them. We cannot miss them. We can control them that without these approvals and everything, it cannot move ahead, in short. So these tools, these are known tools, so just a stage of building. Yeah, security scanning, SAST we can talk about, SCA which we mentioned again. Whatever piece of code my developer is writing or me as a developer is writing, that code scanning is required, which is called as SAST. Software, I forgot the full form, I'm sorry. Then SCA again dependency, where we get the modules and everything into our code, the same thing. I have extensively used GitHub Advanced Security again for some of our projects are using check marks as well. Build and artifact management is, yeah. So whatever containers or the artifacts we create, we tend to store it somewhere, right? Whether it is ECR, whether it is Kubernetes or Docker Hub, we store them. And the container scanning, so what happens is like two stages. One is your code security, second part is your the base image which you have chosen. That could be potentially vulnerable, that validation, and after building that container along with your code, there could be some dependencies which got created and there will be additional vulnerabilities. So that level the container scanning comes. Artifact scanning is again like your end build of application that gets scanned. DAS is again your dynamic security testing, where your APIs, unlike your source code, gets scanned and gets validated, where the application is tested in real time, where it is vulnerable to the problems or not. API security testing, same thing. Infrastructure as security, infrastructure as code security. Whatever piece of code we are writing for launching the infrastructure, though it is a Terraform or cloud formation, we can have that code scanned and know that whether whatever resources we are going to create with those IIC piece of code, and that code can be validated whether we are by mistake or purposely creating vulnerable resources on AWS or any cloud provider or not. Again, through the Terraform or whatever IIC we are using, whatever IAM roles we are using, whether we are using least privilege accesses or not, whether we have just put some asterisks where that role will have a complete access control or role or for the user or not. Security gates, Prisma Cloud, one of our projects are being used. Policy as code, compliance checks, these integrations can help you. There are some other tools available for SOC 2 or compliance integrations named as, just a moment, I am just trying to recollect the name. Scrut is one, and there is to be some other tool. These integrations can help you to understand whether your infrastructure, code, whatever resources you have provisioned are meeting your standard real time or not. Yeah, and whatever happens to the processes, whatever happens to your end user requests, whatever happens to your changes in your infrastructure, right? All these things, whether these changes, whether these implementations are, if not getting logged, if not getting processed, if not getting provisioned, and if there are not enough alerts mechanisms set, right, then it is again going for the cost. So there are some options. The regular logging tools can be used. There are some tools like AWS Security Hub is option available. I personally used it. Your complete cloud infrastructure, security settings and everything it gives you. Yeah. The benefits, like where we mentioned that speed, whether the speed and quality of speed or security can go hand in hand or not. The thing is, when we start bringing these practices at early stages, what we get to see is like there is improved speed, obvious, so that we don't have to go to the last stage and come back to the same stage to fix things. It initially looks like we are taking a lot of time provisioning the things, of being too cautious about securing the code. Then of course end result is like reduce vulnerabilities and security problems, and whatever was happening in silos, right, now it becomes step by step, right, where the developer is involved, your DevOps person is involved, and this integration forms as a DevSecOps practice where all your as a practice developer contribution, DevSecOps tool contribution, all that integrations restricts and improves your overall pipeline, and you achieve the end goal of meeting towards your secure code, right. That's all from my side. Any questions have? I know this must be a little faster than expected, but any questions for me, please? Okay, I'll assume there are no questions. Thank you so much. Thank you. See you around. Thank you.
Be on the stage, sir. Be on the stage. Thank you so much, sir, for your incredible insights. Next, I would like to call upon stage Ms. Rupali Gupta, Director Platform Engineer at dunnhumby, to do the honors. Can we have a big round of applause?